Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea, and this is the show where we talk about the things that we love, movies and movie news, TV and streaming, those things that give us joy. I'm joined in studio today by our technical director, Jonathan Voico.
Hello, everybody.
Writer, director, producer, Robert Meyer Burnett.
I almost impaled myself on a fence this morning as a gust of wind blew a palm frond down on my head.
I'm glad you specified a fence. That's good to know. And most importantly, of course, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. We're so glad that you're joining us. So let's not waste any time and get right into it, shall we? And we're going to start off with this. You know, for those of you who've watched my show for any period of time, you know, I'm actually a sucker for heist movies. I really get a kick out of them. Even some of the ones that aren't so good, I get a kick out of them. And of course, one of the big names in heist movie films are the Ocean's films. Now, I never loved the Ocean films as much as the first one that George Clooney, Brad Pitt, and Matt Damon did. But I still enjoy them nonetheless. But anyway, they've been talking about recently an Ocean's 11 prequel, for those of you who may not have heard of it. Margot Robbie and good Canadian kid Ryan Gosling were going to re-team up to, I think, play Clooney's parents in a prequel. Well, if you're like, yeah, I remember that, but wasn't that like ages ago? Whatever happened with that? Well, there's a reason for that. They keep losing directors, and they've done it again. This comes to us from the folks over at Variety, writing Twisters director Lee Isaac Chung, who did a really good job on Twisters and his film Minari, by the way, which is amazing, exits Margot Robbie's Ocean's prequel over quote-unquote creative differences. They write the following. Director Lee Isaac Chung of Ocean's 11 prequel has exited over creative differences. Margot Robbie's company, Lucky Chap, is producing the film for Warner Brothers. She's also starring in the movie opposite Bradley Cooper. Oh, that's right. They replaced her with Bradley Cooper. Chung, best known for Twisters and the Oscar-nominated Minari, is the second filmmaker to depart the project after Jay Roach, who was originally hired to direct. Then they go on to say, no, everything's fine. This is an amicable split due to creative differences. As if splitting over creative differences is the least. I mean, I would rather hear legitimate reasons being they split over scheduling conflicts. Oh, we couldn't shoot it when we originally planned, and now the director's not available.
I'm getting Kathleen Kennedy flashbacks.
Yeah, massive Kathleen Kennedy flashbacks. Here's the thing that really always befuddles me when I hear about splitting over creative differences. And now this is the second director this movie's lost. Why are you not making sure, and again, this goes back to every time it would happen with Kathleen Kennedy that I would bring it up about Kathleen Kennedy. Why are you not making sure you're creatively on the same page before you start? Like, don't you think it would be a good idea to not just over dinner one night going, yeah, this would be fun. Let's make this movie together. You come on and direct. Like, when you're talking about doing a project that is literally going to cost in the tens, maybe $100 million or more, you would think that you would spend, Rob, I don't know about you, but when I'm thinking that it's time for me to get a new laptop, it takes me months to research video after video after video, article after article after article, review after review after review, like going over everything. It will literally take me months before I decide to pull the trigger, because that's a big investment.
Yeah.
Could be investing like up to $2,000 for a new laptop. That's a big investment. I take my time, I research it months, and then when I'm sure I've got the right one,
A new one comes out.
well, that's inevitable. But I pull the trigger and I buy it, right? Why would you not put that kind of care into a project that's going to cost the company $100 million? I mean, after when you include marketing costs, $130 million, $150 million. Like, how do you not know when you're sitting down saying, okay, this is our vision for the film. Are you in line with that? Absolutely. I got this. I want to do this. Oh yeah. And you make sure you're on the same page. Now look, even if you do that one time out of 100, you're going to find out that the details got lost, in the woods. Okay, it'll happen once in a while, but it's just one of those things. Whenever I see a split over creative differences, I ask, why did you not do the work first to find out whether or not you're on the same page? When this isn't some $5,000 deal, it's not some $10,000 car. It's $100+ million movie that's going to take hundreds of people working on. So again, this is their second one. And you know what, Rob? I think they just pull the plug on this. I mean, I don't know, honestly. While I'm very interested in the project, I don't know that ever since they announced it that I've ever sensed from our audience or the movie-going public in general a real hunger for it. I mean, Robbie's name is hot right now, obviously coming off of Barbie. Wuthering Heights ended up being a bit of a surprise hit for them. All that kind of stuff. Sure, but I also got to think at some point she's going to think there's other things she can be doing with her time. Maybe playing one of Aegon's sister wives with Samara Weaving. Maybe that can be one of them.
I'd watch that.
But anyway, you read this. What's your takeaway from it? They lost another director.
Well, you know, there's with these projects, there's always competing agendas. Like obviously, it's Margot Robbie's front and center on this one. She's driving the car, so whatever she wants goes. But I'll give you a quick example. When we produced The Hills Run Red, it was greenlit by Warner Brothers, and it was almost a year before we went into production. Warner Brothers said to us, we were going to make this movie here in LA for $350,000. We had a lot more money at Warner Brothers, and they said, okay, we've decided that we're going to shoot it either in South Africa or Bulgaria. And we were like, wait, what? You know, so we didn't, Dave Parker, the director, and I, we're just going to go with the flow. But if we wanted to stand on ceremony, I mean, and say, well, I'm not going to Bulgaria, or it's like when McGee was going to do Red Sun or Flyby or whatever the hell they're going to call that Superman movie. He didn't want to go get on a plane to go to Australia, you know, and he left the project. So you never know when something arises. But when that happens twice, if it happens one time, I can understand that for whatever reason. When I worked on Free Willy, the original director got cold feet 6 weeks before shooting began, and he'd only made one little Miramax movie, and he just didn't think the script was good enough. He just had got nerves, and he quit. And Simon Windsor replaced him on the first Free Willy movie. And I was like, why would you quit a studio picture? You know, so stuff happens. But if it happens twice, that's a problem. Because the person that came in to replace the first person, Jay Roach, who left, these problems should have been identified. Like, what are these issues? Are you, like you pointed out, are you okay with them? And maybe because this project's been going on for so long, Margot Robbie wants more money, or there's something ridiculous. But I think, like you, what ends up happening is that the more people you hire to work on projects, the more expensive they get, because it's sunken costs that. So you have now money against the project, so it becomes even more expensive to make it because you have to cover the two directors that have already left and all that development money that was already spent. So movies get more and more expensive when people leave, and sometimes it's not worth it.
And you get closer to your deadline for shooting,
Yeah.
your production schedule, and that makes a crunch.
And the pressure, I mean, there's huge pressure, but you're right. This is now twice. I'm not saying they're not going to make the film. And by the way, Margot Robbie's done pretty good with her Lucky Chap production company. I'm just wondering if at this point they should just kind of read the tea leaves and go, let's maybe move on to something else. I don't know.
Unless
Guys,
the script is really good.
unless the script is absolutely killer, in which, well, then why did the director leave? Anyway, whatever you guys think about this, jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You think Netflix is heartbroken over losing out on the Warner Brothers deal? Well, I just read a quote to Rob a little bit earlier. The CFO of Netflix was just asked, hey, how hard has it hit you that you guys lost out on the WB deal? He said, well, we've got $2.8 billion more in our pocket than we did a few weeks ago. I guess we'll just go with that. It also has not deterred them from still being on an acquisition hunt. Because according to Deadline, they've got a new special advisor,
Ooh.
Ben Affleck, because they just bought Ben Affleck's AI company called Interpositive. And if you're thinking, wait, Ben Affleck has an AI company? The reason you're saying that is because he has kept it completely quiet. It's a specific AI company that he created specifically to make AI tools to help with filmmaking. And Netflix just bought it. This comes to us from the folks at Deadline. Netflix gets back in the mergers and acquisition game, acquiring Ben Affleck founded AI firm Interpositive. It goes on to say the following. Less than a week after dropping out of the Warner Brothers Discovery bidding war, Netflix has made a smaller but intriguing acquisition of an AI firm founded by Ben Affleck. Interpositive, which makes tools developed by and intended for filmmakers, has been in stealth mode prior to the transaction. As of Thursday, it is a part of Netflix, with its 16 employees to be integrated into the broader workforce, and Ben Affleck will now take on the role at Netflix of senior advisor. The deal builds on comments from management as AI has exploded onto the scene in the past few years and on and on. It does say something kind of interesting down the bottom here. It says, nevertheless, the acquisition is sure to be scrutinized as it comes at the same time that above-the-line unions are embarking on a new round of talks with studios and streamers, including Netflix. The aim of the talks is to avoid a repeat of the 2023 strikes, which centered on part of the perceived AI threat. All right. I am intrigued by the notion of AI, a specific set of tools created for the specific purpose by and for filmmakers. That's intriguing to me because, you know, as we've discussed over the past couple of years, the threat of AI in filmmaking, I've often said, and I'm still in a place of, I'm torn. Because on the one hand, you do see like how it can be really terrible for the film industry. At the same time, there's half of my brain is it's just another tool and it all depends on how you use the tool. I think there are some very helpful, time-saving, cost-saving, efficient ways you can use AI as a tool without it becoming the dominant thing that just ends up generating AI slop. Right? Now, to all those who would just start to jump up and down and start screaming anything that takes away jobs from people, like that one episode of The Studio when they found out Kool-Aid was going to use some AI generation. You're taking jobs away from CG artists and stuff like that, right?
Well, there's 16 people that just got hired by Netflix.
Well, there's 16 people. But I mean, there is also an inherent hypocrisy because whenever new technology comes along that we begin to adopt as people, it kills jobs. Don't believe me? 20 years ago, the New York Times had 10,000 more staff people than they do today. And in large part because technology evolved, we started reading the news, you know, on our phones, like, oh, blah, 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 and just tapping on it. And the demand that news come faster and we don't have printing press professionals anymore working for them. The logistics distribution networks for getting the newspapers out there is gone because you and me and all of us started to adapt new technology. It changed that workforce.
It's sad to think that if you say, stop the presses, now people are like, what does that mean? At a news agency. Stop, what do you mean, stop what?
You know what was the craziest things I saw? There was an Instagram video where there was a trend where people asked their children, their kids, use your hand to pretend like you're talking on the phone.
Oh,
and
yeah,
you
yeah,
ask Gen Xers, you do this, right? You ask the kids and they do this. It's like, that shocked me. But also another industry, travel. When I was a kid, I remember the Lime Ridge Mall, where I grew up, had a couple of travel agents. When you want to go on a big trip, you would go to a travel agency. Yeah. And there were travel agents. Not today. Yeah, today you open up, oh, Expedia, clickety, clickety, click.
If you see a travel agency now, it's a money laundering facility.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. So we killed an industry from it. Or even bring it home to the movies. Bring it home to the movies. Do you know that 20 years ago, I just used the barometer of 20 years. 20 years ago, simply because of box office staffing, the people who actually sat in the box office, that's where the word comes from, kids. That's where you used to actually go in person. It was called the box office, where you bought your tickets. There are still people there, but again, it came up to the same number, 10,000 less jobs today. Why? Because you and I adopted a new technology that allows us just go clickety-click, and I bought my tickets. And if you're Canadian, clickety-click, barb a trick. Only Canadians will understand that.
Clickety-click what?
Barb a trick.
Nice.
It's a little kids thing in Canada called Barba Papa. Very, very, anybody outside of Canada will know it. Anyway, or Rob, let's also stay with the movie theaters. There's 87% fewer film projectionists today with jobs than there were just 20 years after Lord of the Rings came out. That's not that long ago. Just 20 years ago, 87% fewer film projectionists. Why? Because technology changed, technology advanced. Now, I am neither saying this is good nor bad. Technology is purely agnostic. But what I am pointing out is we clutch our pearls a little too tightly sometimes when it comes to new technology tools changing the way we do things, which always and inevitably impacts a sector of the job market. It does. I'm not saying that's good. I'm just saying that's the way it has always been. And there's a little bit of hypocrisy in all of us who use our technology all the time when just a few years ago, us using that technology has cost somebody their job. But the industry evolves. It changes. How do I feel about Ben Affleck developing, who I am unabashedly a fan of? Everybody knows I'm a big Ben Affleck fan. How do I feel about Ben Affleck, like developing a company that's specifically targeted at generating and creating AI tools specifically for filmmakers? I have no problem with somebody making tools. I might have an issue with how somebody decides to use the tool, but I have no problem with somebody generating tools. And look, guys, it's kind of like the disappearance of physical media. It's not about whether you like it or not. It's about that is the way everything is going. So how are they going to do it? I'm still torn on the whole thing, Rob, but I found this fascinating that in secret, Ben Affleck built a bat cave and he founded an AI company in it. And now they have sold that AI company to Netflix, and now he's a senior advisor there. Anyway, what's your takeaway from this?
Well, you know, I've been dabbling using AI on various projects, and there's two different approaches, I think, that with AI that people don't quite understand. One, and Ben Affleck himself has been saying this on recent podcasts and interviews to support the RIP. You know, he said that when you're using AI, you can type a prompt in Wolverine fights the Hulk, and you hit a button and you can have a photorealistic Hulk fighting Hugh Jackman in his yellow suit. And you'll get what Ben Affleck says is a median. You'll get a fight scene that looks recognizable to you, that looks cool because you've seen it in other movies already. That's one thing. And you can certainly use AI to do that if that makes you happy. Or, like, for instance, there's a program called Storyboarded AI that I've been using.
That's awesome.
It's
I fiddled with it a bit. It's remarkable.
So what I'm doing is I am pre-directing the feature film version of my audio drama True Noir. It's a different story entirely. You can pick your lens size.
I love,
You can create, I can do all of my shots, and then I edit it all together. It's all coming from me and Max Allan Collins' screenplay.
But see, that's the thing. That's such a positive use of AI because that's inspired you to do something creatively.
I could never,
which would then generate.
It's a tool, and you've chosen to use it in a very effective, helpful way.
Yes, and what it is, I'm picking every shot, and what I can do is, because instead of making a lookbook, I can walk in, and I've already had a few meetings about this. I walk in and I can show, I'm like, here's the movie I want to make. Eventually you can watch it. I will have a 2-hour version of this in storyboard form with every shot, every lens size. You can pick the lens size.
Mm-hmm.
You can make every shot handheld. You can make it on sticks. You can do whatever you want. And you can generate this. And it's an unbelievable tool for me to show somebody what movie would you want to make, Rob.
You know what the pessimist would say, though? Not me, because But you know what the pessimist would say? Rob, you're taking jobs away from illustrators, because it used to be that you would hire illustrators to come in unless you're Guillermo del Toro and can do it yourself.
The key there is I don't have any money to hire an illustrator.
Yeah,
There's no budget
to scale.
There's absolutely. I am putting my own sweat equity into a project, spending money on the AI, on storyboarded AI, which is not cheap, and it's all coming out of me. I have Max Allen Collins' script that I'm working from, and what I'm trying to do at the end of the day is get a green light so I can employ people.
Yes. The end game is actually a production.
Yes, and I'm I've chosen to use, no one's paying me either. An illustrator could be paying you, right. I am taking that job away, but I wouldn't be hiring an illustrator anyway.
Right.
So it's not like I'm taking a job away from someone, and I'll tell you, an illustrator could honestly not do. I couldn't have an illustrator go, that's a great drawing. Now I'd rather have a 35 millimeter lens instead of a 50 millimeter lens. Can you do that? Well, that's a whole nother drawing. I have to start from scratch.
And you can sync it with your script.
Yeah. Yep.
So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And again, it just goes back to the hypocrisy that we have. Is like, I just saw somebody in the live chat who meant well. I'm not trying to bash on them. They said the difference between a tool that helps. There's a difference between a tool that helps and a tool that replaces somebody. Do you have a dishwasher in your house? I hearken us back to just in the era of the Brady Bunch, when a lot of American homes had housekeepers and whatever and come in, and one of the big jobs to do is clean your dishes. Well, guess what? You don't need them anymore. You use a dishwasher, so you're taking a job away from somebody. It's just the matter of, like, how do you use it? And Rob, I think the point you made, I think you kind of rushed over a point you made that I think is completely clear here. It's either you can now use this AI tool that's allowing you to do something you couldn't do before, or it just didn't get done at all because you don't have the money to hire people to do it.
That's right.
So what's the best thing to do here? And it's, again, listen, I'm not saying I've got the answers, because I don't. I'm still listening to arguments on both sides about when it's appropriate, when it's not. What part of it is just a natural evolution of the technology? What part of it is, I don't know, something become, but I'll tell you this though, what I have found, and I'm not making a blanket statement here, I'm just saying what I have found from a lot of the people that I've heard make the biggest arguments that this technology is stealing people's jobs and taking away from are the same people who will stand up for piracy.
Yeah.
The same people who will use technology to rip movies and share movies illegally are the same people saying we shouldn't be using technology for ways that take away. I don't know.
You know what? One more point. I'm finding that it's older people that are embracing this technology and doing things that they've never been able to do before. Like, I have a friend of mine who's been using AI technology to help him write his first book. Now, he didn't hit a button and just say, write this for me. He's been using it to develop an outline and do it just much faster.
I would use it as an editor.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, if you already have talent and you've already done something, like Michael Davis, who directed Shoot 'Em Up, has been using...
Oh, I love Michael.
Yeah, he's amazing. But he's been using AI technology to help him, because he was a storyboard artist before he was directing movies and an animator. And now he's got a one-stop shop where he already made a fully animated movie once called Nixed. Now he's using this new technology because he already has a skill set. And if you have a built-in skill set, you can use this AI material, the technology, to increase your output 1,000 times. But he's bringing a lifetime of understanding to the use, to when he uses this material, because he went to art school and he's got all of that background.
You know, it also reminds me of this. I'm going to see if I can find this. What is the name of the old machine? Was it the Filmola? Or no,
Moviola.
The Moviola.
Then it became a flatbed.
Yeah, so it reminds me of this, because I remember back when NLEs, nonlinear editors, things like Avid, the early versions of Adobe Premiere, hell, what's the Apple Movie Maker?
All thanks to George Lucas, actually.
Right? So I remember when
Mm-hmm.
those, like, reading like stuff about the fact that before, if you used to want to edit something, you had to hire somebody who had one of these. See if you can find a picture of it.
A Moviola? Sure.
Yeah, see if you can find a picture.
I learned to
of it
cut on a
bring it up.
Moviola at USC.
I mean, a lot of people learn to cut on Moviolas, but it used to be that if you wanted to edit something, You had to hire somebody who had either had a moviola or had access to a moviola. Somebody with very
I want to
specific.
find a higher res because there's a lot of low res ones.
Well, just bring it, even the low res one, just so
Sure.
people know what we're dealing with here. With
Just to start, I'll get other
There you
pictures.
go.
somebody
That's exactly
with
what we
a
used.
very specific trained set of skills to do it. But today,
Oh, this is awesome. This is
This is
they're all rolled out.
technology, yeah, there you go.
You can get a bunch of
That's what USC looked like.
Technology advanced to where now any fucker can sit in their mom's basement and use their computer to edit something. Are we saying that's bad?
Oh, it's not just the use of that. It's the fact that then film stock processing, all of the back end,
Now,
like
You can make an argument, and you would be right to do so, to say, yeah, but John, AI represents kind of an exponential leap. Absolutely, you're not wrong if you're thinking that. But it's still the basic principle of it is still, at the end of the day, a tool, and it's all going to be about how we use them.
right.
Is Ben Affleck, has he created AI tools that truly help filmmakers and give them choices and options and creative abilities that might be otherwise exponentially more difficult to do without them? Or is he creating AI tools that replace filmmakers? And I think I think that at the end of the day is the question, because I think if he's just treating them as tools to be helpful tools in the belt of a filmmaker, great. If he's using them as things that just replace filmmakers, maybe not so great. But again, I think this is a question that deserves a lot of discussion that we are only at the beginning of having, I think.
Yeah, I think it all comes down to the actual creator who's using the tools and how they're using
100%.
it. Like anything else, it's like what's going to happen is when everybody has the ability to create with these tools, it'll be like everything else. Not everyone picked up an electric guitar and started a rock band. What's going to happen here is the people that really love to tell stories are going to use this technology to tell stories. People that wouldn't be able to tell stories before, and the great storytellers will come to float to the top.
Or it will be an AI apocalypse. I think it
just
can go
don't-
either way. It can go either way.
But then even that, you're hitting a reset button because people aren't buying. You're not making money off of it. There's got to be a natural reset.
Anyway, again, I think we're just at the beginning of all this, and we're just, I think, even as a culture and as a society, we're just trying to figure our way through this right now as the technology continues to advance. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Down in his secret Batcave, Ben Affleck has founded an AI company for filmmakers, and he
Man.
just sold it to Netflix, where he is now a senior advisor.
Keep it secret. Keep it
Whatever
safe.
you think about this, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, we still have some other things to go through, but you know what? There's a bunch of other things going on in the world of movie and TV news that we just don't have time to sit down and talk about at length, but we want to make sure you guys are caught up to speed, and that's why we have this little segment called In Other News. First up, we have to talk about the man, the myth, the legend, Nicolas Cage. Fans have been begging for a National Treasure 3 for years, and producer Jerry Bruckheimer finally gave us a status update. Bruckheimer confirmed that they are currently working on a script, and they really want to get it to Nick Cage soon. Now, while Nick Cage has been a bit skeptical in recent interviews about the movie actually happening, Bruckheimer seems much more optimistic, noting that the development process is active. So it kind of sounds like the ball's in the writer's court to deliver a story that Cage can't refuse. So Benjamin Gates might be hunting one more treasure after all. Honestly, I don't ever see this movie even happening, but I'd be lying if I didn't say I'd at least be a little bit interested in it. Next up, a massive, impressive milestone has just been reached for a popular horror franchise. The Scream franchise has officially crossed the $1 billion mark at the global box office. I'm not gonna lie to you, this is a huge achievement, especially considering that the series started all the way back in 1996. The recent successes of Scream 5 and Scream 6 really pushed the franchise over the edge, proving that the slasher genre is more alive than ever. And despite some recent behind-the-scenes casting drama regarding the seventh film, this billion-dollar milestone cements Scream as one of the most successful and enduring horror icons in cinema history. Don't get me wrong, Scream 7 is absolutely one of the worst films ever made in Hollywood history, but even I can't help but be happy for the franchise for this huge and impressive achievement. Next up, In some distribution news, the tech thriller Lifehack has officially secured a theatrical release here in the United States. The film, which currently holds a 100% score on Rotten Tomatoes and was nominated for 2 British Independent Film Awards, is set to release wide on May 15th and has Michael Fassbender as an executive producer. Now, this film has been generating a lot of buzz on the global circuit for its intense and timely look at our digital lives and the dangers of hacking. It's a gritty, fast-paced story that explores how easily our privacy can be compromised in the modern age. So if you're a fan of high-stakes thrillers and feel like they could actually happen in real life, this is definitely one to keep on your radar when it hits theaters, as it's looking to be one of the more unique indie releases of the year. Next up, moving over to Disney news, Kristen Bell is shutting down some absurd rumors regarding her paycheck for Frozen 3. Now, I'm sure you've heard those reports circulating around online claiming that Bell was set to earn a staggering $60 million for the upcoming sequel, but she recently cleared the air, calling those numbers completely false. Now, while the Frozen franchise is obviously a goldmine for Disney, Bell pointed out that these viral salary reports are often wildly inflated and do not reflect how voice acting contracts actually work. Now, she's definitely excited to return as Anna, but let's just say the Disney vault isn't opening up that much cash for a single film, especially for voice acting. Next up, Tom Hanks is returning to the era he knows best with a brand new World War II documentary series. Hanks, who has become Hollywood's unofficial historian through projects like Band of Brothers and The Pacific, will be using never-before-seen footage and personal accounts to bring a fresh perspective to the war. The series aims to tell the stories of the soldiers and civilians through a more intimate lens, utilizing modern technology to restore old film. For fans of history or anyone who loved his previous HBO collaborations, this looks like it's going to be a must-watch television event. And finally, we have to talk about the ongoing drama surrounding Coyote versus Acme. Now, one of the stars of the film, Will Forte, I love him, recently got very candid about the film's cancellation, admitting that he felt quote-unquote white-hot anger when he learned that Warner Brothers was shelving the finished movie for a tax write-off. Forte had nothing but praise for the final product, saying he was devastated that the cast and crew's hard work and a movie that tested incredibly well might never be seen by the public. It's a tense situation that sparked a lot of debate in Hollywood about whether studios should be allowed to just bury a completed film versus the financial responsibility that you have if you honestly don't think a movie will make enough money to cover the cost of releasing it. Still, I'm looking forward to seeing it when it hits theaters on August 28th. And that'll do it for In Other News. All right, guys, that will catch you up on a lot of the smaller stories going on in the world of entertainment. So now let's move on to this, shall we? You know what we haven't done in a bit? Haven't played a game of Versus in a while.
Wow.
We jumped onto the YouTube channel. We asked you guys, you got some head-to-head setups for us to adjudicate. You guys sent in a bunch. Jonathan's picked out a few. So, Jonathan, what we got up first?
All right, Rob, starting with you as always. Who do you got here? Team Caboozle says, which is worse, Spider-Man 3 versus X-Men The Last Stand? I have a feeling I'm going to disagree with both of you.
You know what? I got to go with X-Men The Last Stand is worse than Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 3's got a lot more stuff in it. Look, if Spider-Man wants to dance, Spider-Man should dance.
Hell yeah.
I have no problem with that. I like Thomas Hayden Church. You know, there's a lot about Spider-Man 3. Is it goofy? Certainly. But Sam Raimi directed it, and there's still enough in it that I quite enjoy. Whereas X-Men The Last Dance, it should have been The Last Dance instead of The Last Stand, because the X-Men could have danced in a movie like that, and I would have liked it better. But, I mean, you know what? X-Men 3 does something I thought was unforgivable. And there's Magneto sends out these new mutants, and he makes as they're being taken out, he says, that's why they call them pawns, my dear.
Yeah,
Magneto would never sacrifice other mutants like that.
That is totally out of step with his character.
And I'm like, not only is there one of the most worst continuity things ever, it goes from day to night in one shot on the bridge of I mean, I was so angry.
The Dark Knight Rises did that too.
Yeah.
In the Bane shot with the bank.
I was so angry about how Magneto was portrayed in that film. And the fact that he would leave Mystique behind. You know, you were so beautiful, my dear. When she's no longer, they'll cure her. They'll figure it out.
Well, no. You know what? I'm with you on the other part, but she's not a mutant now anymore. It's like, I got nothing.
Yeah, but it was done in a bad. I mean, I still don't think that that she was still a victim. And she was a victim, and she had her essence taken away from her, and they would have fought back. They would have figured it out. But I just don't like that movie at all.
Yeah, look, neither are good. Neither are good. I think Spider-Man 3 is worse. And, it comes down to, I think for Rob, you and me both, it comes down to which bad movie has the things that more what we would consider some redeemable qualities.
Spider-Man 3.
And I would go X-Men The Last Stand, while still, bad, has a few more redeemable qualities to me. For example, Fraser Crane, who plays Fraser again? Who's the actor who plays Fraser?
Oh my gosh.
Why am I?
I'm looking
Kelsey
at
Grammer.
Kelsey Grammer, yes.
Kelsey Grammer as Beast was inspired casting.
Oh yeah, and I like
was
seeing
great.
Angel.
And by the way, watching Beast fight in that movie was great. The whole action sequence surrounding, like with the Golden Gate Bridge and him transporting the mutants over, that was a great action sequence. Again, these are both bad movies. I'm just looking at both and seeing what scraps of redeemable quality stands out to me the more. I'm going to say X-Men Last Stand stands out to me a little bit more, so I'm going to say Spider-Man 3 is the worst one.
All right. I'm going to tie break with Rob, but The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is worse than both of those, in my opinion.
Yeah,
that tone was everywhere.
But you know what? But also has more redeeming qualities, I think, than either of these two at the same
But
time.
I love the
tone was
first
so-
Amazing Spider-Man.
Yes.
I thought Andrew
I love the
Garfield's
first Amazing
Yeah, with
Spider-Man.
Lizard.
I thought that was great.
It was excellent.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to you, John. Jarrett Frierson says Fall Guy versus Free Guy.
We've just gone from two movies that are bad to two movies that are great.
Yep.
I remember they gave a full screening to us at CinemaCon for Fall Guy and couldn't believe how good it was. Like, I was really very entertained by it. It was a wonderful film. But I got to go with Free Guy. Free Guy it charmed, it delighted, it entertained, it made me laugh, it made me feel. By the way, Star Wars Starfighter director Sean Levy was the guy who directed Free Guy. X-Men or Deadpool and Wolverine director Sean Levy directed this one as well. There was never a moment of that film that I wasn't deeply entertained right from the beginning, especially with the Chris Evans cameo. That out of nowhere Chris Evans cameo was so good. So I love, like the last one where I dislike both the films, I love both of these films. I will say in the verses, I'll take Free Guy over Fall Guy. Rob, what about you?
Well, I agree with you that both Free Guy and Fall Guy are wonderful films, but I'm going to go with Fall Guy only because I love movies about movie making.
That's true. That's a great part about it.
Yeah, and that's the only. Whereas I thought that Free Guy had, like you said, a lot of great creative touches, and it was really. But I just liked Fall Guy better because of the subject matter.
By the way, how good was Channing Tatum in Free Guy? How great was he in Free Guy?
Did you guys get a little nervous in the opening scene of Fall Guy when he's getting hoisted up there? The way it was shot.
Oh,
the way
Yeah. And I think that on purpose. You know, that it was really well done.
It was well done.
All right. What's next?
We got over to you, Rob. MP says, in honor of Bruce Campbell, Army of Darkness versus the Evil Dead.
I worked on Army of Darkness.
Oh, wow.
I have a screen credit on
right.
Army of Darkness. I worked for Altarian Studios we did all the Evil Ash stuff. That said, I'm going to go with Evil Dead. Because when Evil Dead came out in 1981, Stephen King was talking about how great it was. I saw the movie in a theater, and I loved the first Evil Dead. I thought it was ferocious. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was. Whereas Army of Darkness has a much broader scope, but I think it's a little too goofy. And to say that about an Evil Dead movie, I like the first Evil Dead because it's still nasty and it's still ferocious. Whereas Army of Darkness is a straight up comedy.
That budget went way up, though.
Yeah, and it was wild. We were shooting at the castle in Acton, and then on the Intravision stages. But I loved Evil Dead, loved it.
Yeah, we're like 4 for 4 now. I'm going to go the opposite of you on this. To me, Army of Darkness created and defined a genre. It really did. I mean, before Army of Darkness, there wasn't really anything like Army of Darkness.
No.
Right? Like, I think movies like Shaun of the Dead and whatever would not exist were it not for Army of Darkness. And Army of Darkness is one of the most quotable films in history. Give me some sugar, baby.
Yeah.
It is simply one. You got real ugly really fast. It is just like one of the most quotable movies of all time. All due respect to Evil Dead. All due respect to Evil Dead. But Evil Dead, and I know this is going to come across bad. I don't mean it to come across as bad as it's going to sound, is just another horror movie. There's nothing like Army of Darkness. Never was, hasn't really been ever since. So I'm personally going to go with Army of Darkness. All right, what's next?
We're gonna
You win with either one, really.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's no losing in that one for sure.
All right, going back over to you, John. We're gonna hear from Colin David Senarini. I think Taylor Swift biopic versus Beyonce biopic, which would make more money?
Oh, that's not even remotely difficult. Taylor Swift's.
Yeah, which would be more interesting though? I think Beyonce.
I think the Beyonce one would be more interesting.
Yeah.
I'm more of a Beyonce fan than I am of a Taylor Swift fan. I like them both. They're both, I mean, they're ridiculously successful. But, I mean, look, all you have to do is look at the data. In 2023, within 2 or 3 months of each other, Beyonce put out a concert pick documentary and Taylor Swift put out a concert pick documentary. One made literally 6 times more than the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Beyonce's one made a very respectable $44 million at the box office. Taylor Swift's made over $260 million at the box office. Literally 6 times more.
May have saved AMC theaters too.
Oh, yeah, very well may have. And so listen, I'm not saying if you put a Beyonce biopic and a Taylor Swift biopic out that Taylor Swift's that automatically means it'll make 6 times more than Beyonce's. Mm-hmm. But I think you're being naive if you don't recognize that. At least today. Hey, if they release them 50 years from now, maybe it's different. But if they release 2 biopics about both of these artists within the next 5 years, easily the Taylor Swift one's going to make more money. Again, I think the Beyonce one will be more interesting, but the Taylor Swift one's going to make more money. Rob, what about you?
Well, I think the Taylor Swift, like you said, but I do think Beyonce is far more interesting just in terms of the life she's led through. Although, you know, the Taylor Swift stuff when she got her albums or the rights taken away and she re-recorded
re-recorded like that was the most baller move in music
that was so
history.
Baller. And both of these women are queens in the music industry, and they both have their respective. They're both very, very talented, and they both, I think, are quite interesting. But Taylor Swift just has I think a larger fan base.
Significantly.
Like
at least
said.
Today.
Yeah. Just like you said. And it doesn't, no shade on either one of these ladies because they're far more talented and rich than I'll ever hope to be in the rest of my life.
All right. What's next?
Rob, who you got here? We're going to hear from David Kulig, The Boys versus Invincible. I think this is pretty easy.
You know what? I got to go with The Boys on this one. I like Invincible. I do. I really do. I think Invincible's great. But The Boys, to me, is a wonder that they've kept that show sustaining what they are doing for 5 seasons. And with the spin-off shows, I love the actors that I mean not just Homelander, but the fact that Giancarlo Esposito was in there. The first season we had Adventures in Babysitting, leaving Las Vegas. Elizabeth Shue, Cocktail Elizabeth Shue was one of the main characters who got one of the most chilling deaths ever.
And by the way, one of the most memorable episodes of television with the passenger airline.
Oh my God.
Like that haunted me.
I remember that
for ages, that episode.
Yeah. So I just got to go with The Boys.
Listen, I really like Invincible. You guys have heard me talk about Invincible.
Yeah.
I really like it. I was not a fan of season 2. I thought season 2 was a real drop ball. Season 3 redeemed itself. Totally did. But Invincible is the toilet paper that The Boys wipes its ass with. I mean, there's just, I'm sorry, it's not even remotely close. The Boys, because The Boys is not just like wildly entertaining, right? It's also got incredibly deep philosophical, socio-political commentary. It's wrapped in layer upon layer and layer. And every scene has 5 different things going on into it with deep meaning, rich commentary, rich social observation. It is art with poop jokes. I mean, it's what I often
And
call
some of the
it-
best dick jokes I've ever seen.
I call
And I've
it
seen him on that show.
Shakespeare wrapped in a Kevin Smith skin. It's Shakespeare wrapped in
Or
a
a
Kevin
foreskin.
I was gonna say
Smith
that.
or a Kevin Smith foreskin. Yeah.
The better angels of my nature said no.
Again, it's just not. I'm sorry. It's just not even remotely close. Invincible is McDonald's, which hey, give me a good McChicken sandwich. Very enjoyable. I like it very much. But like, yeah, like freaking The Boys though is, what's the big steakhouse, the big what I'm forgetting the name of where I go to get like a ridiculously expensive
Ruth's
filet
Chris?
mignon. That's it, Ruth's Chris, where I go to get a ridiculously expensive filet mignon once a year. It's just they're just 2 different levels, and to me, there's no question. Again, that's no shade on Invincible. I really like Invincible. I can't wait to watch the new season, but The Boys by a mile. All right, what's next?
All right, last one going over to you, John. Who do you got here? We're going to hear from Steve Calderon. This is a 3-way race. Project Hail Mary versus The Odyssey versus Dune 3. Which will get the most Oscar nominations next year?
Ooh, that's a good one. A lot of people have asked questions like which one is more likely to win Best Picture, like Dune 3 or The Odyssey. This is a good one. Project Hail Mary, Dune 3, and The Odyssey. Now remember, getting more Oscar nominations doesn't necessarily mean you're the better film. It just means in certain disciplines, you did really well in a lot of other different types of disciplines, right? Like Sinners set the record for most Oscar nominations, but I still don't think it's going to win Best Picture at the Oscars this year, although I'm going to keep my fingers crossed because it is my favorite film of the year. When you look at the board, I think Project Hail Mary gets the most nominations. I just think there's too many areas it's going to have that will be Oscar contention types of areas. I just think it has the potential for more nominations. Again, I don't expect, like right now, if I had to guess, I'm thinking either Dune 3. I think Dune 3 is going to be the best film of the year, but I'm thinking either Dune 3 or The Odyssey, having not seen any of these films yet, will win. But I just think because of the nature of the film itself, I'm going to say Project Hail Mary gets the most nominations. Rob, what about you?
I'm going to disagree with you only because there's not enough actors. Dune 3, The Odyssey, and Project Hail Mary are going to all share in the technical awards. They're all going to be, whether it's visual effects, sound design, original score, cinematography, they're probably all going to be competing against each other. The only place where any of those could exceed Project Hail Mary is because they have more cast members.
Yeah, but
so
out
they'll
of
get
the
acting
28
awards.
something categories, that's only going to be
I
one or
know, but I
two
think
categories.
I'm gonna go with Odyssey only because of the actors that are in it, and that's the only reason. You know, I think Project Hail Mary. I mean, having not seen it yet, is definitely going to be a front
8
runner.
days. 8 days till
I know
we see it.
it's definitely gonna be a front runner, but that's the only way I can think of because those 3 movies are all going to be competing in the same categories, which is going to be really interesting.
I just think that Project Hail Mary will get some of the nominations that The Odyssey and Dune won't. But again, I'm not going to be surprised.
Yeah, me
if
neither.
any one of those 3 ends up getting it. So yeah. All right, guys, that will wrap up this little session of Versus. Thank you to everybody who sent in those matchups for us. Keep your eyes open on the YouTube channel for when we put out calls for submissions, and maybe you'll see your matchup addressed on the next installment of Versus. All right, guys. With that down, we got to talk about the new, what they're not officially calling this, but I think it's the final trailer for The Boys Season 5. We're going to get to that in just a second, but before we do, we got to thank a couple of sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show. Our friends at Harry's, see if I can get the pull. There we go. And Mando. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, Harry's. Listen, guys, you know that I'm a tech geek. We live in an age where your phone is basically a handheld supercomputer and your car can now literally park itself. So why are so many of us still using razors that feel flimsy, overpriced, and honestly stuck in 2008? That's exactly why I've leveled up to the new Harry's Plus. When I first picked this thing up, the first thing that I noticed was the weight. It's solid metal, no cheap plastic here. If you want to check it out right now, head over to harrys.com/Campea. Now, what makes the Plus different is the advanced pivoting system that actually reaches every corner of your face. You're getting 3 different blade angles for a clean cut at the root, plus a lubricating strip with aloe and vitamin E to keep your skin calm while you work. No clogging, no middleman, just a great shave. Right now, you can get the Harry's Plus trial set for only $10 at harrys.com/Campea. You're getting the new Plus razor, a 5-blade cartridge, their foam shave gel, and a travel cover. It's a risk-free trial, so if you don't love it, they'll make it right. Go to harrys.com/Campea, and when they ask where you heard about them, please tell them we sent you. It really helps support the show. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Mando. Guys, the time for spring cleaning has come, and to be honest, I'm actually kind of looking forward to it this year. I've been busy clearing out the clutter in the studio here and getting my camper van ready for the next movie meetup trip, but I'm also incredibly excited to keep using my deodorant. You guys know that a while ago I started using Mando whole body deodorant, and it has been an absolute game changer for me. Whether I'm sitting under these hot studio lights for a long live stream, or I'm out on the golf course recently. Yeah, I actually just took up golf. I need something that actually works. Mando was created by a doctor and comes from the founders of Lumi. One of the things that I love about Mando is that it's safe to use anywhere. We're talking pits, feet, and even the boys downstairs. It's clinically proven to block odor for up to 72 hours, which is honestly way better than a shower with soap alone. It doesn't just mask the smell, it stops it before it starts. Right now, you can get 20% off site-wide. Head over to shopmando.com and use my exclusive code Campea. That's shopmando.com, code Campea for 20% off. Support the show and tell them I sent you. And thank you to our friends at Harry's and Mando for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show. All right, guys, with that down, let's go on to this. Truly one of my favorite shows, now running for the last 6 years, whatever, going into its final season, The Boys. Not a single season has missed a beat. The character journeys for all of these guys, from Hugh's dad, Homelander, Butcher, Starlight, even A-Train, like characters like A-Train, like they found a way for all of these characters to have these rich, personal, bombastic, crazy journeys and storylines that all brings us now down to season 5. And they just put out the final trailer. It might not be the final trailer, but people are saying it's the final one, where they finally actually reveal what Homelander's endgame is. He's trying to get his hands on the original formula to make himself immortal. That's his big thing. And of course, mixing in the whole concepts of deity and everything and stuff like that, it is as violent as you thought it would be. It was intense as you thought it would be. Seeing Butcher's now kind of having control of what his powers are, kind of neat. But then it reminds you, this is still The Boys. So Jensen Ackles pops up, and the very first line out of Jensen Ackles' mouth is, "Did you fuck me?" What? Is this some kind of incest stuff? Oh my God. I just about died. Actually, you know what? The only thing that I think was funnier than that was, I think it was season 1 of what was the one with Godolkin? Gen V?
Yeah.
Was Gen V when she's hallucinating of Soldier Boy, and he talks about her dry riding the pillow, thinking of him. It's like that whole dialogue spiel just had me busting up. All the one thing though that was kind of a bummer for me watching the trailer for season 5 was knowing this is the last season. That really kills me. Now we are going to get spinoffs. They're going to continue to be future spinoffs, but they're bringing it all together now. We saw a number of the characters from Gen V are now in here. I did love the last spot too when A-Train shows up, who himself has had an incredible story arc through the 4 seasons leading up till now. And Kimiko says, "You guys are friends?" And he's like, "You talk now?" Yep. I just, that was just so adorable and cute. And it still leaves the big mystery. And by the way, this is a show that has deviated in a good way off the rails from the comic books.
Yeah.
Like in many ways, but they still throw in some real iconography from the original comic books, like that shot of Homelander sitting in the Oval Office at the president's desk, right? Like very, very, like a huge major moment in the comics and all that kind of stuff. It still leaves the big mystery. Who ultimately is going to be the one to take down Homelander? Is it going to be Billy? I mean, he's the one. This whole thing started with his axe to grind because of what he caused to his life and his wife's life. Will it be his son, Ryan, who they kind of implied in the trailer? He goes, traitors, and they show a picture of Ryan. Does Ryan turn on Homelander? They sometimes implied in the last season that he's starting to figure out that his dad's a sack of crap, but sometimes he doesn't really care. And so that's kind of romantic. Could it be Starlight, who has been fearing for her life because of Homelander the entire time? Could it be A-Train? I mean, or could it be, I mean, listen, wouldn't there be some kind of poetic irony if it was the Deep? Wouldn't it be hilarious if the Deep is ultimately the one that takes out Homelander?
Would that be satisfying, though?
It depends on how they did it.
Yeah, it's true.
Or could it be Soldier Boy, speaking of Jensen Ackles? Soldier Boy, who is Homelander's dad, decided his kid's a major disappointment and needs to be eliminated. I mean, could it be that? Could it be, what's the little Stars and Stripes mega girl in it? Not Firecracker.
Firecrack?
Yeah.
Is that her name, Firecracker?
Yeah.
Or is it something else along those lines? Anyway, so could it be her? Could it be, I don't know. Could it be Black Noir? Could it be, I don't know. Or could it be a massive conglomeration of a whole bunch of them have to ultimately team up and take down Homelander? Not sure. That's, to me, is going to be the big mystery going throughout the rest of it. All I know is that the trailer was awesome. I have loved this show passionately. I already mourn the fact that this is the final season, but I cannot wait for it. Rob, you had a chance to see the trailer for The Boys season 5. What did you think?
You know, I love the early teaser trailer that I thought looked really apocalyptic, but watching this, I mean, as they finally, like you said, they revealed getting that compound would make him immortal. I mean, that's a truly chilling. What I love about this show is they keep upping the ante all the time. They never shy away from taking you right to the edge. Look, I just can't wait to see this. Everything about this trailer looked great to me. It definitely looked like, I think a lot of people are going to die. We've talked about how no one's safe and how even in the first episode, there's probably going to be a shocking death.
Oh yeah, was it Carl Urban who said,
yeah,
there are going to be a lot of deaths. Nobody is safe right from episode 1.
But I think Homelander is going to take himself out.
Think so.
I think there's going to be something that happens because he is such a despicable.
That would also not be very satisfying.
But it's going to be something where it's probably going to come down to a knockdown, drag out battle. I think it is going to be satisfying, but I think it's going to be something. He's such a despicable character in the best way. I mean, he's one of the great characters.
He really is.
I mean, he is so despicable, and he is so well done. He is so well played that I think at the end of the day, I don't even think it would be. I don't know who could take him out because I've thought about this. What would be the most satisfying way for Homelander to go out? And I don't know if any of them killing him would be the best way. It would have to be like he took them out. Something were to happen where I don't know, but it's got to be his comeuppance. This is my one worry, that his comeuppance will not be as satisfying as I want it to be. Like, I want this to be, I remember when in Breaking Bad, when Gus Fring walks out of the explosion and turns his head.
Yeah.
I was like, There are times
Adjusts his tie right before
yeah,
he
I mean,
falls
like
down.
it's got to be a Ramsay Bolton death. It's got to be a Joffrey death. The death of Homelander, if he indeed dies, has to be the most satisfying death in all of television history. I think either that or he doesn't die.
No, he definitely dies.
But it's got to be good, dude. It's got this
By the way, there's
death.
a couple of other characters. Remember I said, I think Billy makes the most sense. I mean, the whole show was predicated on what he did to his wife and that he assembles the boys for the very specific task.
Yes.
I think that makes sense. I think Ryan taking him down makes sense. I think Soldier Boy taking him down makes sense. A couple of other characters that I didn't mention, though. Sister Sage, who has been like kind of the brains behind everything. What if her ultimate endgame was taking out Homelander to begin with? The other one that we haven't really touched on, though, is Marie from Gen V, who in the final season of Gen V, they propped her up like, you are Homelander's equal. Like, you could kill Homelander. Now, the problem with that is, do you now bring in a character who has not been in The Boys season 1, 2, 3, or 4?
Yeah.
And then bring her, I can see her being instrumental in helping to bring down Homelander, but I think it's down to 3 for me. I think it's either got to be the one that delivers the killing blow, has either got to be Ryan, the son, Butcher, or Soldier Boy. I think it has to be one of those three.
Or a collective effort of the 3.
Well, what I mean is the one to be the last one to drive the A2 Brute final dagger into Caesar's chest. If you don't know what I mean by that,
Read more Shakespeare.
So I think, I mean, man, I don't know. I think the smart money is on Butcher. I think if I had to put down $5 on this, because I do agree it's not going to be just a one-on-one in the middle of the desert. But I think ultimately it will be Butcher that takes him out.
Do you think by doing so, Butcher will also lose his life?
Butcher's going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, which is also a Shakespearean thing of this.
Yeah.
And I think he may actually sacrifice himself to do it. But I mean, like the last season kind of spelled it out that he's on borrowed time right now, that Billy's on borrowed time right now. And remember, I don't think their plan A is going to work. Their plan A is the virus that was discovered in Gen V. That'll be the final blow character. Which one do you think it'll be?
I mean, Butcher's the most obvious one. I just think that he's the most satisfying one.
Yeah.
I can't think of another character. Like, I don't know. I mean, I think it's got to be Butcher. I think you're right. It's got to be Butcher or Soldier Boy. Or it's a collective. I mean, the only other person, and this is out of left field, is Huey.
But Huey's big problem was A-Train.
Right. I know.
It wasn't really Homelander.
But it was, I think Huey's big problem was all of it.
Yeah.
And he's got to save the woman he loves, or something along those
there's
lines.
something poetic about the non-soup being the one to take down the ultimate soup.
Yes.
That
would be my dark horse candidate.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? Did you have a chance to see the final trailer for The Boys Season 5, the final season? If so, what did you think? We loved it. I cannot wait for this to get here. What worked for you? What stood out to you? Whatever you guys think, and most importantly, actually, who do you think kills Homelander? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, this is normally the part of the show where we would go over and take live questions. However, I have a couple of appointments I have to go and meetings I have to go and be a part of. So we are cutting today's show a little bit short. We're not going to do live questions today. Don't worry, live questions will return again tomorrow. But that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys, again, for taking time out of your schedules. We know you could be doing anything else. And the fact that you chose to come hang out with us for a little while means the world to us, and we thank you so much for that. Of course, big thanks to writer, director, producer Robert Meyer Burnett, our technical director, Jonathan Voico.
See y'all soon.
My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.